You're good whenever you're ready.
We're ready, we're on, okay. All right, good afternoon. We're gonna try to start right on time. I am Sue Gibbons. I'm gonna chair this meeting in absence of Taryn McGregor today. So I'd like to call to order the December 8th meeting of the New Shore Conservation Commission. I'm Sue Gibbons.
Katie Cass.
Carlos Salinas.
Okay.
Just for clarification, today's the 9th, not the 8th.
So item 1 on our agenda is Mark Costello, Plat 4, Lot 9, fire number 1031 on Corn Neck Road. An advisory to the zoning official for a coastal resource management council sign off for an application for a proposed drainage system to direct storm runoff.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be setting up you have the plans in front of you.
I do, yeah. Yeah.
I can help with the phone. Man, where's the best place to? Does it have to be on the Zoom?
It's on quick, so you're okay.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, commission members, and for the record, my name is Sergio Terenzio with Terenzio and Associates, offices at 99 Mechanic Street, Moffett, Connecticut. I am both the president and the principal of Terenzio and Associates. The application before you this evening is in front of you or this afternoon is in front of you for an advisory, I believe. Just a bit of background, I wasn't here at the last meeting. My associate Mark Castellanos, who's my survey manager, was here. He tried to answer your questions or at least get some comments from you that he brought to me, but he wasn't as well versed with this project. So I'm here this afternoon to address what I believe are those comments that I received that he brought back to me after your meeting. I did send a letter in, which I can give you a copy of.
Got it.
Oh, you have
Yep.
copies of it?
Yep.
You need a copy?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, I have extra copies here. I was gonna run through those comments and point to things on the map that we prepared, if that's acceptable to the commission. I should be able to go through those briefly and then answer any other questions you have. We are in dual jurisdictions here. On the northeast or the east side of Corn Neck Road, you can see there's a series of significant wetlands to the north and to the east, the rear of the property. We have gone through some DEM permitting in the past for Mr. Costello, which is what the site is today with some improvements. And so those are under Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management jurisdiction. There is also a coastal feature on the west side and the other side of Corn Neck Road, and that actually is under Coastal Resources Management Council jurisdiction. So we have dual jurisdiction. We've actually already filed with the Department of Environmental Management, but until we get the sign off from your planning and zoning official, we cannot file for the Coastal Resources Management Council portion of our application.
Okay.
So that being said, just to give you a little bit more background, I think you're familiar with the plan, but I just want to make sure I have on the record that you can see the house is situated centrally, closer to the easterly portion of the site. The subject area that we are proposing to work in is in the front yard, and it's an area that's relatively low lying. You can see that there's some wetlands up in the north to northwest portion of the site. That the water that accumulates during runoff events, which largely comes from the northerly properties running off onto Mr. Costello's property, kind of sit in that wetland, but then overflow and come across the front, and that's the subject area where we're going to put in this under drain. And the purpose of that under drain is that he gets a lot of during the wetter portions of the season, winter times of the year, after rain events, his lawn in that area is just simply saturated and with standing water, and he wants a way to just dry that up a little bit, quicker than just letting it dissipate on its own. And that was the purpose for the under drain. So that drain is completely subgrade, it's under the ground. It's basically conveying whatever, groundwater that is coming up and some of that surface water that's sitting there. This is to dry that area out sooner, a little bit sooner if it won't, so it doesn't have to deal with a saturated lawn. As many of you know, if you have saturated conditions, it makes it difficult for maintenance and getting in and out with a mower, driving over it. It gets a little squishy, and if that area can be dried out quicker, it's a better situation for him in his yard. So that is generally the premise of that. Some of the comments that I believe that were provided to us from the October meeting. One was a question if the area got fertilized, and if there was any recommendation that you can make as a conditional approval, either by DEM or CRMC on restriction of fertilizer. I can tell you from my experience that DEM and CRMC do not typically put restrictions, nor do the regulations call out that single family residences need to put any type of restrictions on the type of fertilizer that they use. That being said, if you have recommendations or if you have some requests, we are happy to consider those. But we prefer not to have any things that would not normally be stipulated by DEM or CRC in the permit record. The other comment that I had, there's a small wetland that the proposed curtain drain discharges to or dumps into, and to be a known area of flooding. There were concerns that this would expedite water into that wetland and increase flooding along Fort Neck Road. So along Fort Neck Road, there is this swale, formalized stormwater management area. We did have it flagged by our biologist, and which are identified by this Z-series flagging. So yes, the water does discharge into the town right of way and into this drainage swale in this area. It then leads to a pipe, a 12-inch pipe, and then to a head wall which discharges to that coastal wetland. I understand that there is concern of flooding in the roadway, and that happens on a periodic basis. I don't know how often, but that really is not the responsibility of my client to make sure water evacuates from that road system. And it really is something I think the town may want to take a look at, and we'd be happy to facilitate. I don't think Mark has any issues if there are some improvements if that were to be large. But there may be some other type of treatment that needs to happen. With respect to the pipe on Mark's property, as I mentioned, this is an under drain. It's not going to move that water any faster during a rain event. That water is going to be restricted by that 12-inch pipe and the capacity of that swale. My assumption is that 12-inch pipe is probably what is restricting the water from this half of the road, which is drained into that swale along with the water that's coming off of the adjacent parcels.
So can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So that's one of my primary questions there, because as you describe it, Mr. Costello would like his property to drain more quickly by using the under drain.
Yep.
So it doesn't build up in the low spot on his property.
Correct.
And yet what we're saying is that if the under drain allows the Costello property to drain more quickly, then I'm trying to understand how that will not drop the stormwater or the drain water into the existing wetland more quickly than it currently does. And that is, it may not be a huge concern, but when you say that if the flooding is increased in that area because the current drainage system used by the town fails, that it's not Costello's responsibility to make sure that drain works. It kind of is if you've increased the speed at which Costello's property drains to that pipe. So that's the place that I'm,
We're talking about two different things.
okay,
So this is an under drain.
yeah,
If this area is saturated, there's not gonna be anything that Mr. Costello is doing to increase the rate of that runoff off that study.
so where does the under drain drain to?
Which other drain are you referring to? The 12-inch drain?
Yes.
It drains to the other side of the road. That is solely a problem that the town could address. He's not going to increase the rate of runoff nor the volume of runoff to that pipe. All he's doing is that when it's a saturated condition, that water can get away faster. But that assumes that the area is not flooded. That water is still gonna take the same course as it does, it's still gonna drain across, and when that flooding subsides, that's gonna allow his property to drain a little bit quicker to get the water away. But he's not gonna exasperate that issue is gonna be a condition of the current condition that's not changing. He's not increasing the impervious area, he's not increasing the rate of runoff off his property. This under drain is not gonna be shooting water through. If I was gonna put a pump in and say, I'm gonna pump it out to the other side, that would increase the rate. But this is all gravity flow, we're just moving water to the ground.
So if the water's moving underground,
Mhm.
help me understand where the water moving underground from Costello
Yeah.
exits.
It exits into the swell.
Okay, so if it exits into that swale, which is a current wetland, right?
Mhm.
Then,
Well, it's a
It-
drainage feature, but I'm not sure if it's actually a well. I have to go back to the report. We'll go ahead and say.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it shows as a wetland on these things. It's very often wet there.
We have to go to the biologist report. I don't
But
have it in front of me.
anyway,
I can pull it up.
So what I'm just trying to feel more confident about is that the under drain drains out through the same area that the town's drainage system drains underneath Corn Neck Road to the other side.
Mhm.
Yes?
Correct.
Yes, okay. So if the goal of that under drain is to dry Mr. Costello's property faster
Mhm.
so that it doesn't build up in the low section of his lawn,
Mhm.
then I'm still a little lost on how this isn't gonna increase the speed at which the runoff reaches that culvert.
The under drain is a trickle.
Hmm?
The under drain is a trickle. It's not gonna be, it's not a like a surface conveyance pipe. It's not like we're putting it in a catch basin, putting a large pipe in and sending all that water in that direction. It has to go through the earth first, and then it'll fill that pipe up, or it'll slowly enter into that pipe, I should say, and it'll trickle out. And the water can't get out of here until all the other surface water is evacuated from that system.
Okay.
Is that a perforated pipe?
Yeah, it's an the under drain is a perforated pipe in stone. So it's to get that water from underneath and to dry this area out, but once again, all the other storms have, when the heavy runoff has come, say Corn Neck Road floods, this isn't gonna be conveying water, because it's all inundated. This will have to drain first, and then once everything drains away, then when it's drier conditions, it'll help them get drier as well.
All right, that makes more sense. Thank you.
Sorry if I didn't explain that the first way, but it's a bit complicated.
Well, yeah, and our concern came from the fact that if you consult changes in drainage that potentially affect existing wetlands,
Mhm.
the EPA, for example, suggests that creating a new wetland in order to drain your yard or your system into can be a good idea.
Mhm.
But draining into an existing wetland usually is not, because of changes in volume and
Correct.
changing the way that current wetland exists. But it sounds like what you're suggesting is that the perforated nature of the under drain will not cause that.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it were, we were paving this area or putting in a new structure in, we would need to do something to hold that water back before we let it discharge out this thing. But this is water that's already going into the ground, we're just giving it a conveyance to get it out sooner than it would originally
Right.
have to get it to the ground.
Okay, thank you.
And this is not your responsibility, but I've seen that pipe. It's kind of jagged looking and old and, you know,
Sure.
it's down by, that goes under the road and
Yeah.
discharges into a wetland.
There's a head
Yeah.
wall. And then, yes, it's very close to the flag bottom.
Okay,
It just,
Yeah.
it just, so. I believe I didn't study the road runoff, but I believe some of it comes off the road directly to the wetland. The remainder of Corn Neck Road in this vicinity drains probably to the shoulder, gets into this pipe, and then this pipe across into that wetland.
have you seen that area when it is filled with
I-
water?
No, I have not seen it.
It's a
I'm
lot of water.
sure it is.
What my concern is, and it's not a concern, but Mr. Costello has a lot of land and he's got a lot of lawn.
Mhm.
Why is it so important for his convenience to interfere, that's maybe the wrong word, but with the wetlands, to change them for his benefit when everything is in place now and they're draining naturally?
So, he's not changing anything in the wetlands. I don't know if that's been made clear. This pipe is going into a developed lawn area.
I see.
And what's not shown on here is that Mr. Costello was subject to a previous DEM permit. Where there was a lot of enhanced plantings. I don't know if you've been by the site,
Yeah.
but he was, as part of his previous permit, there was a lot of plantings that were installed here.
And they're very
And
nice.
to mitigate those, the stormwater runoff issues. Unfortunately, it hasn't done enough to pull all that water up, and during, the high rain events and during saturated conditions, this will help things just move that water along, in addition to all the plantings that he's put out there. So I think he's done actually a decent job in being a steward of the property. I know he wasn't crazy about putting in all the plantings, but in working with TEM, ended up, that's what we agreed to, and he has carried through it, according to his permit.
I'm reading the topo lines here, there's no pitch for this at all, Berkeley Road.
I'm not sure what you're referring.
The curtain drain.
The actual topography of the curtain.
Huh?
The curtain drain itself. Yeah, the curtain drains we can run level because they'll become a conduit and water will find its level to discharge out the end of it. We can put a slight edge on it, but it's such a flat area, it's there to collect that water and it'll move it along. Just by virtue of the fact that it needs to, by gravity.
I'm just trying to read the numbers on the topo lines,
Yeah.
it's very small. It appears to be, over near the road, it's 16 feet. And it's about 16 feet where the curtain drain ends, so that would make it pretty level. Right, is that correct?
This is elevation 10, so you
Yeah.
might just be
Yeah,
misreading it. But yeah, generally, there's a contour line that runs
Yeah.
around this whole area.
Yeah.
This area is very flat. I mean, water will sit
Yeah.
here and
yeah,
then
yeah.
it'll eventually move.
Yeah, I
down.
was like,
Sorry.
this is.
But yeah, it's elevation 10, and I believe this swale gets down to like elevation 9, and that is, there's some spot grades that are really difficult to read. But yeah, once that pipe hits itself, starts to fill up, the only place for it to go is at the discharge location, which we're just saying, we're just sticking out at the end of the property. And we'll get into that swale.
Path of least resistance.
So, exactly.
Well, I don't personally like the plan only because it's natural now. It's taking its natural course. And for the convenience of a dry lawn, when it has so much, why not let that just drain naturally? I don't know. I like the idea of, I understand why you're doing it.
Mhm.
But I also love for nature to take its course.
Understood. We respect your opinion on that. And this will get state review as well. but we welcome your comments and, you know, make it as part of your decision. There were a couple other comments that I just wanted to touch upon, if I may. One of them, I think, was asked if there was, if fill could be placed in this area. I think that would actually be the opposite in effect, is that if we were to fill this, then we would be pushing water off the site.
Yeah. that's
So
like-
this actually is a compromise in some respects where we're still keeping an area where the water can sit, because it is low lying, but then it can be, moved away by the drain as opposed to filling it and pushing all that water right out to the right way. And then I know there was a question on EPA advisement. Typically on these types of matters for single family residences, we don't seek any EPA advisement, but if, you know, you're welcome to do what you see. advised and see fit.
Sergio, I think that was probably misunderstood.
Okay.
I think the only question of EPA was the article that I referred to that discusses whether it's appropriate to drain to a new wetland or an existing one. So I don't think we were looking for any EPA advisement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
That's all I have. No, I'm here to answer any other questions you may have.
You mentioned the biologist report.
Yeah, there was a biologist report. It was submitted with our DEM application, so it should be part of your packages, but if it's not, I'm happy to provide it.
Too many pages.
But it was an updated report on this flagging that they had done.
Mhm.
So, yeah, just to flag the
I'd have to-
wetland, I think.
I'd have to look.
Do you know
it
if we
up,
got that?
I didn't see it in the package that I received to give to you originally, but I can definitely go back through. It just might not be in what it was given to me for you for review.
Could you forward that to us, please? Thank you.
Yeah, I'll make sure I get to it.
The only thing that I would say is regardless of if you feel that RIDEM CRMC has a place in recommending fertilizer use, I would strongly consider that he take recommendations from someone or us. I think it would just be in his best interest because he is part of that ecosystem, and the water's going there anyways regardless, so I know it's not even maybe directly related to this project, but just in general I think he should be stressing that he is being mindful of the fertilizer he's using if he's gonna continue to further alter the area around the ecosystem.
Yeah, and as I mentioned in my response, we are open to responsible practices with using fertilizer, such as organic, slow release fertilizers, making sure that the appropriate amount is applied by a professional. And then, you know, oftentimes owners will, you know, test the soils to see what the soil needs before just applying it, you know, blankly a certain type of fertilizer. So, I don't think my client would be, adverse to that and taking those recommendations. It's just a matter of what's best practices.
Yeah, we may not have the jurisdiction to prevent the use of fertilizer on that property, but whether they're organic or not, fertilizers are nitrogen based. It just depends on where you're going to get the nitrogen from. And Mr. Costello is draining, curtain drain or no curtain drain, into the wetland on the east side of Corn Neck Road and through the culvert to the saltwater eventually on the west side.
Yeah.
So truthfully, there should be zero fertilizer in use on that property. The only point to fertilizer would be making that lawn greener. And it's to be a good steward of that property, I can't imagine it being responsible to use organic or non-organic nitrogen-based fertilizer on it, because as you said, or as Katie just said, he is part of that wetland from both a freshwater wetland and saltwater on the other side. So it would be good to be responsible there. And, you know, maybe that could just be a matter of the record that just, you know, we don't need a beautiful green lawn on Block Island. We need to take care of our wetlands.
I hate to be redundant, but I can't read on my map the elevation, okay? Over by this, there's an elevation line over by the road. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. I look at this and I see 22 feet and I see 20 feet there, but I know the numbers are so small that I can't read them.
You're looking for the topographic lines?
Yes, right. What is that?
Yeah, this didn't reproduce very well.
But just,
That's a 10 contour right here. See how it wraps around? That's not 20,
Okay.
that's not 22. I don't know where you're.
okay, no, it's about, it's almost level. I
Yeah,
was hoping that there was a slope. And
No,
that,
area is very,
But, yeah.
very flat. Once he gets down here,
Yeah.
that's what his issues are because it's a low lying area. He's getting high levels of saturation during, the,
That's true, it doesn't.
mostly during the
So.
the seasonal hydrology or
Is still
wet season.
He's still.
And that's coming up January to March.
Across the road.
This area is probably gonna be highly
Right,
saturated. When it comes around to the summertime,
Hmm?
it's not as much of an issue. It's for those times when it's saturated. But it's about elevation 10 through here, and then this swale is down at about elevation 9. And these inverts are at 6.5. So, just to get it in perspective, it drops down pretty considerably once you get to this pipe. I don't know if that answers your question, sorry, but
yeah,
I'm trying to get you a little bit more clear copies, but I think that's a.
no, I understand. I just,
Reduction. I'm happy to bring large size plans if people need them to the meetings if need be. I wish everyone just had their laptop, at
Yeah,
these
we
meetings,
could
then you
load 'em.
can just zoom in and out and to see things. We're getting there with some of the meetings, but, you know, the town should all buy you guys tablets so that you have them at the meeting.
All right, well, I guess the question is whether we're ready for a motion on this today. I feel like I could create one unless somebody else wants to.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I would suggest that Conservation Commission create a positive advisory for this curtain drain, given that we are, the suggestion is that there's no change to the overall drainage from the property. I would like to put into the motion that Mr. Costello consider being an excellent steward of his wetlands in the other ways that he manages his lawn.
Okay.
For instance, fertilizer, even though it's not in our jurisdiction to prevent him from doing so. But it seems like a good outcome to me.
I can second Sue's, motion. I feel the same way.
So we have a second, are we?
John seconded, so.
John seconded,
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any nays? Against it? Nay.
Nay, okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
Any use your job?
Thank you.
Just don't. And they're not gonna do anything.
All right,
Consider it, speak to the hand.
all right, so that takes us to item number 2, which is Bayberry Hill LLC, Plat 4, Lot 45, fire number 1747, Cornet Road. All right,
Did we thank Mr. Shorencia for his presentation?
yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
Yep.
that extra information.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks. So back to item 3, Bayberry Hill LLC, Plat 4, Lot 45, fire number 1747 Corn Neck Road. Advisory to the zoning official for an application for a new single-family dwelling and detached accessory structure plus new OWTS and well.
Good afternoon, Attorney Matthew Landry, on behalf of the applicant. I think it's been about a month or two since we first came before you. Just want to recap briefly kind of where we're at and how we got here. A lot of history with this property. There was a CRC assent already issued on this property. DEM has approved the OWTS and is a valid building permit active for the construction of this property. The barn is about 100% complete already. The foundation began a couple of years ago under the Ascend and building permit. Work on that had stalled because the Ascend that was issued had lapsed primarily because of COVID and a lot of the delays on the island, getting materials over, laborers over, a number of other reasons. But work has continued in some capacity on the property up until today's date. That barn, there's been workers on the property. So it's our position respectively, the building permit is still valid, and we don't need to apply and go back through this entire process, particularly because it's already been approved and, work has commenced in reliance on those permits. As part of this, though, we needed to review our CRMC assent application, and we were told that we needed to get a building official sign off, as is typical of that process. We asked for the building official sign off, and despite all the approvals and pending construction on this property, we were asked to come back through the Conservation Commission, which we were happy to do so, and present our case to the commission. At the last meeting, I think there was a request for some oversized plans that we had submitted to the commission, as well as the full CRMC permitting file. It was well over 200 pages, so I hope you didn't read every single page. Most of it were the original application plans, a number of extension requests for the past couple of years, but there were some documents from the State Historical Preservation Commission that signed off on the project. There was some correspondence regarding the archaeological inspections that took place, all that passed muster with these approvals. When the CRMC application goes forward, it will again be reviewed by the State Historical Preservation Commission and flag all these issues once again, if there are any. So we don't anticipate the issues in that regard, but that file, really the only pertinent information in that is that the plans that were submitted then are the same as are being submitted now. Nothing has changed. Princeton Engineering, at the advice of the town solicitor, had submitted a letter certifying that those plans were updated with today's date, but the plans are in fact consistent with and the same as what was already approved by the town and by CRMC. So I think that's an important note. Again, this will go back through a full review by CRMC. There is, the Nature Conservancy does have a conservation easement on the property, and I think that is an important point as well. This is a large site, it's about 12 acres, and there's about a tenth of the property that can be developed because of that conservation easement. My clients work very closely with them and have a very good relationship with them. There are a number of restrictions on wall planes and height and building locations, and so there's a great effort here to preserve the property and the integrity of it, particularly from a conservation standpoint. And we are required to get the Nature Conservancy sign off on the architectural designs and ensure that this is consistent with that conservation easement. They have provided that consent and sign off that was also presented to the town. So I think that sort of final point I want to stress is that not only is this commission reviewing this, but there's a conservation easement that is certainly important and restricts the design, and we are in conformance with those design parameters. So really, we're looking for the commission's blessing again to move forward and get the sign off that we need for this CRMC assent application. I think at this point you should have all the information that we have up to date at this point. Karen Beck is here from Prince of Beach. She's been, intimately involved with this project from its early inception, can answer any technical questions the commission may have, but I think that brings us up to speed so far.
So when I walk the property, I noticed that this is all built on pilings. Right? This is gonna be built at ground level. Okay, and it would have seemed to be pilings on the property. Is that correct?
Yes, that is in fact.
Supporting.
All- and archaeologists went out to the site, they actually mapped all of the locations of items of concern. And these pilings, what they allow
Pylons,
for
yes.
is to raise the elevation of the support so that, you're having 2,000 square feet of concrete.
Right, and
something like
there's
that.
no excavation required.
Okay.
Answers my question.
And they have been installed, so the
Yeah.
pilots are all present.
Yeah, we've seen them, I think, or I have. My other question while you're still there about the houses themselves, you're saying that the building permit is still valid? So it has been updated year by year, because usually a building permit, is good for a year or two tops.
So there's been active construction on site. There was a change in the name of the entity from Turtle Swamp to Bayberry Hill. There was some correspondence and discussion between my clients and the team with the town and the building department, and there was a new building permit issued, I think, in February of 2024.
February
That
24th.
reflects
Okay.
that new name, and there's correspondence.
Okay, all right, and then the two buildings, one of the buildings, they don't connect at all, right? They're entirely separate from each other? So, one of the questions that came up at the last thing, that when Jen Brady was here, I think, and this isn't necessarily our purview, but just an interesting thing as you move forward, is can it be considered a single family build when the two buildings don't touch each other?
So-
Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, so
Is that-
there was a lot of effort in the design of the building, and that was partly because of the Nature Conservancy's restrictions on wall plane, frontage along the salt pond, building height. There was a concerted effort to change the design and break down the scale and massing of the building. We had our architect, within the last few months, resubmit even a zoning review form to ensure that it still complies with all the regulations, and it does. There
Okay.
was some attestations for that. I know Ms. Brady had suggested that this should come in as a secondary accessory building or family dwelling unit. I think it's really our position that because this has already gone through the approval process, construction has already begun. In reliance on those building permits, this is a procedural formality. Not sure we could be required to or go back and change all that, especially now with this construction. I do appreciate your question. I know that down separated specifically rest behind the aesthetics down in Massey. So there was a collaboration of individuals, for the design that you see, it was intended to reduce the impacts.
Yeah, I think what you come up against when you look at two separate buildings like this, whether, and again, it wouldn't be Conservation Commission's purview to object to it. This way it would be zoning. But is that when one building is shown as just bedrooms and one building is shown as the kitchen and living space, it feels dangerous in the sense of there being two buildings. It would be easy to turn the second building into a second full living space and hope nobody noticed.
I would say,
guess, right?
So the building permit is specifically for a single family residence, so certainly the representation that it's gonna be maintained as a single family. It's the family that owns it. There's no intention to modify that, and I would suggest that any attempt to do so would require, the appropriate approvals.
Obviously, yeah.
To do that, but we're certainly aware
Okay.
That is-
All right, yeah, I'm just suggesting that that's why this raises the hair on the back of people's necks sometimes to see two separate buildings, so,
Just Fine too, that this is not sewer situation, this is an OWTS. And the DEM approves OWTS for a certain number of bedrooms.
right,
So they cannot exceed that number of bedrooms, and then they would be in conflict with the permit they got from the
Sure.
DEM.
Yep.
And then CRC also pays attention to the number of bedrooms, and it's in the permit they sent that's reviewed by. them. So
Yep.
It's
All right.
a couple other layers of protection.
yeah, it's just a very complicated project, that's all, yeah, so, okay. Do we have other concerns? Carlos?
First of all, thank you very much for providing the full CRMC file. Can't say I read it all, but I did go through every page. Also appreciated the building manager's kindness when I walked through. We had a good conversation about what was going on and all of that. You might remember I was asking about human remains when we last met. So that remains a concern of, that is still a concern for me, whether any mapping of any kind has been done to see where some ancestors are dwelling. And also, one of the things that was very interesting in the file was the final report of the work that Kevin McBride did. And I'd like to note the recommendations, the final recommendation was a data recovery program for the mitigation of the sensitivity of the site. And I was wondering whether or not that had ever been carried out.
I do know, twofold. One is that, the Narragansett tribe is also, very much involved in this project.
Mhm.
They're Potentially, I believe, I'm not sure exactly what they found, but there was an area to the north of the barn that they were particularly interested in. So I'm not sure if there were, remains there or not. I didn't see the actual report, discussing that, but again, that's beyond any limits of excavation on the site, so that's going to be maintained and preserved. And then secondly, McBride was on the site
Mhm.
when they put the pilings in, so if there was anything that was excavated during the course of the pilings, their work out there, then that would have been recovered and stored in the method that they usually use for something sensitive.
Mhm.
As far as any other excavation that goes on the site, I believe probably, the process right now is because it is so sensitive and it is so, clustered and dense out there.
Yeah.
That they would continue that process in terms of any excavation being proposed on the site, they would have, Mr. McBride or someone else present on the site to make sure that if anything's excavated, they would recover it.
But is that something that with a timetable, or is that a wish or an actual intention? I mean,
I'm not sure it was in the permitting process for
Mhm.
today,
right.
but again, the property owners have really gone above and beyond in
Mhm.
terms of archaeology and conservation, et cetera, to make sure that this project
Mhm.
definitely adheres and is as sensitive as possible out there. So I don't think that even if it's not in the permit requirements, they would do that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would just say that there was a protection plan negotiated with the Narragansett Indian Tribe Preservation Office. So there was something addressed and, negotiated with them to their satisfaction. And I know the most immediate concern was an area particularly north to where the barn is constructed. So they went through great lengths to ensure that any sensitive areas were preserved and not disturbed, and negotiated a protection plan with the Narragansett Indian Tribe, an additional oversight. And again, the state is gonna have an additional review of this property once it goes back through the process, and, certainly could flag any other sensitive areas that may be a concern.
And is that protection plan in writing or?
I don't know the details of it because I
Mhm.
wasn't involved in it, but something we could certainly provide to the town,
Mhm.
if there's in writing.
Can you provide it to the commission?
Certainly.
That would be really great. Thank, and any other documentation you may have on future plans, intentions on protecting that heritage, that would be great.
Of course.
Thank you.
How deep are the piers?
I do not know the answer to that.
And I've never known a building to be built on piers. What keeps one, how does it stay level?
There's a concrete slab that is on top of all of those piers, and that's basically, so it's raised a little bit from the ground, there's kind of like a curtain around, so you can't see that there's airspace always, but, the goal again was, if you have 8 piers that are 12 inches in diameter or 2 feet in diameter, that's a much smaller friction on the ground than the slab itself.
Right.
So that was the goal behind using, the pilings as opposed to a slab on
I
grade.
just thought, what if the ground shifts?
There, I'm sure, quite frankly, I mean, normally you'd have, like, for a retaining wall or something like that, you'd be below frost, quote unquote, which is 4 feet, basically. I'm sure these are probably more like 9 or 12 feet, deep. Yeah, well, again, they're supporting the quite large structure, so, but they're, throughout the entirety of each of those areas to make sure that they're stable and anything like an earthquake or, tsunami or any of those things like that that could potentially happen on this property. They're basically structurally designed to support the system. Would you like to know how deep they are actually, or is that, okay, just making sure. Deep, yeah,
They're deep enough.
I'm not the structural engineer.
No, they seem to project about 12 inches above the ground at this point.
Yeah.
You know.
Just out of curiosity, how will you heat such a structure?
I'm sure it's not coming up from the ground, it's probably not
Geothermal.
Yeah.
yeah,
Everybody uses heat pumps today.
yeah.
They build a big fire.
Not gonna be
underneath
easy,
it.
yeah, with no basement.
Electrical.
Right. All right, does someone want to make a motion? Are we ready to make a motion?
Carlos, you make.
Carlos, do we want to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion for a positive advisory. Yes.
You have any stipulations on the information you wanted regarding the?
And the protection plans?
I'm assuming they're gonna do that, whether it's in the motion or not.
I'm just
Yeah.
checking.
Yeah,
I gotta make sure I write it all down.
Hurt, right? Yeah.
Yeah, please.
It
Yeah.
won't hurt.
Okay.
Yes. So do you have the motion, Amanda, or?
I guess I make a motion, a positive motion, positive advisory with commendation for the steps taken so far to protect the archaeological heritage. And a recommendation that such efforts continue strongly into the future. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
One more step.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for, it's been an extensive amount of information and it's very helpful.
It's an interesting product.
Yes, sure, it will. Somebody's gonna get a lot of gray hair on this project.
Did you print this all out yourself?
No, I.
No,
You
Hey,
I
yeah.
did.
you would like to take it, you like to take it and read it, okay,
Oh, it's on both sides. I usually take it.
it's mind boggling, okay.
This is one, this should have been there.
Okay.
So,
All right, so that moved us on to item 4, which is approval of minutes. We've had the minutes from October 14th and October 21st.
I have paper copies of all of them.
30th right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have paper copies of everything. If you want them, take one of each.
Got October 30th. And
Pass them
we'd
down.
be able to approve all 3,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
So here's,
the 30th is on top. Then the 21st, then the 14th.
30th.
Oh, were they together or?
No, it's
Oh, I
one
see
of
what
each.
happened.
What do you got?
They need to come back because,
October 30th.
This is October 14th coming down to you.
Yeah, I've got
Those October
14th.
30th
I got
extras
21.
need to come back this way.
No.
So this is,
14.
No. Sorry.
where's my date?
Sorry.
This is the 14th.
I have the 30th, the
All right.
21st.
I have a lot of the 14th here.
14.
14th is 2 days.
Okay. All right. I don't have 30. Could 30 come back this way?
2:30's coming up.
Sorry.
This is the schedule
That's
only.
why I-
Okay.
I was wondering,
All right, so let's start with the 14th,
I don't know.
right?
Oh, I
You,
have
you need the
30th.
14th still?
Please.
There's one for Amy.
Done.
All right, anybody else?
21st,
14th?
21st. I just got to look at it. Okay, got it on that.
Do you have one?
That's all right.
Okay.
if there's any extra copies. ask them.
Okay, the 14th is pretty simple. I don't seem to have the 21st. Anybody have the 21st?
21st should say draft on it.
Anybody have another copy of the 21st?
30th, we can share.
Yeah, I can
What's
share
the
with Katie, that's
21st?
fine.
And I still don't have. the
No,
14th.
this is the 14th.
I would like that.
Says,
Oh, I see.
Hey, double check my dates, because that was part of the problem.
Here's an extra
Amanda,
14.
the one that says October 21st on the top,
Yep.
down here it says October
So I didn't
14th.
change it to- I will change that.
And so I'm not sure,
If you wanna go by whatever date,
so the real October 14th is at the top and it's the 2 pages
okay,
that says
thank you,
draft.
all right. All right, so the one I just looked at is actually October 21st. Okay, good. And here's the real October 14th. Got it.
sorry,
No problem.
you're a lot of minutes. If that's the only thing that's wrong, I'm doing good.
I'm missing the 21st if anybody has it.
Here's a 21st we can have done.
Great.
All right, and then the 30th is the one. Here's the 30th. Okay, good.
Well, I make a motion that we accept the 14th.
Yeah, shall we do them one at a time, Amanda?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, so I would agree, we're ready to accept the 14th and would second that motion?
I would have a question about the 14th.
Okay.
sure.
At the very bottom of the first page, I have, well, I don't remember Karen Beck reading a report to us about the burial sites and archaeological survey.
Where is it on the 14th?
At the very bottom, that's the very bottom line.
Oh,
I can take it out.
My memory is that she said, yes, there were burial sites, yes, there were things, but she didn't know exactly where they were. That's what I recall.
yeah.
I don't
can change it.
remember
I
a
didn't
reading
write
of a
this.
report.
I wasn't there for this meeting, so I'm taking Jen's word for it, but I can change it if you feel it's not right.
I think I would just, if you can, take that line out,
Yeah.
right? Because whether she actually read it or not,
Yeah,
it makes more
me
sense.
see
not to
Carlos.
Have it in there, just
that's fine.
because I don't remember that either, Carlos.
That's totally fine.
So just on October 14th, take out that line that says Karen Beck read her report to the commission.
Yeah.
In case she didn't, because I don't think she did.
And then
I believe that it was just confirmed that archaeological survey had happened.
Right.
And that it was part of the file that they were gonna send. to
Right.
us.
Okay.
and there's a tiny typo, under Bayberry, Karen Beck, Principe Engineering. Oh,
Oh.
that was engineering. That was the name of the company. Never mind.
Okay.
I am a typo.
It's okay.
So with that change, are we accepting October 14th minutes?
I make a motion.
Okay.
I can second it. All in favor of October 14th?
Aye.
Okay, so moving on to October 21st.
We know that I have to change the 14th to the top. To 21. It's probably that way on the 30th too, just.
Yeah.
No, it was good on the 30th. Yeah, I know. Yeah, the top
Yeah.
dates are right. It was just the
The little paragraph.
yeah.
Yep.
Although if that's really the only thing that's wrong, we had 6 meetings in the span of 8 weeks. We're doing good, guys. Guys.
All right, I'm okay with October 21st, other than the fact that it says October 14th on the first, you've figured that out already. Yeah, okay. Are people ready on October 21st?
I'm reading on.
I'm wondering, I mean, I made the comment to one of the attorneys, but I wonder if we should say, something like, the commission reminded all participants to keep it civil. Somebody started accusing somebody of being a hypocrite.
You did, but you said it so nicely, Carlos. I was trying to give you credit.
That's
Maybe it's like,
30th, I think?
it's on the 21st.
That's on the 21st. No, Carlos was very nice about telling them to behave. And I thought it was very eloquently said, so I gave you credit, but I can change it if you want me
Oh,
to.
where do you have it? Where do you have it that?
I thought I put it in there.
I think we're on
I thought I put that there.
On the 21st?
the 21st, Carlos, or are you on the 30th?
I'm on the 21st.
I thought I had put that in there,
I
but
thought I read it. I don't have it in front of me.
You on that one, because I thought that little attack came on the 30th.
no, that was the 21st.
Yeah, that was our first salvo, yeah.
Because there was the long meeting, because Jen didn't want to do it. I tried.
Maybe we could just have, the sense of the commission is that we welcome civility.
That we do.
Okay. Any other changes for the 21st?
Okay, I'd make a motion to accept the 21st.
Isn't the 21st when we made our first concerns about the Costello property?
Yep,
Parent.
here.
So I wonder if we could put in there what our concerns were. The accelerated drainage into the existing wetland as well as the fertilizing of the wetlands. Because that's, we made those. Ma'am, no,
Okay, so it's under number 5.
number 5.
That's okay.
21st.
I can do that.
If you could, yeah, I think that we add in accelerated drainage
Yeah.
and potential use of fertilizer. 'Cause
Yes.
they're not completely admitting to using fertilizer, but it certainly sounds like they're fertilizing,
Okay.
right? Because
They don't want someone to tell them not to.
Right.
That's what it is.
Accelerated flow.
they don't like being told not to, which
And fertilizer. Okay.
It's sort of a hint that they probably are fertilizing.
And it's human, all too human.
Was anyone seconding the 21st?
I'll second.
Okay.
All right, all in favor of accepting October 21st minutes?
Okay.
Right, that jumps us to October 30th.
Just a little typo in the first and second paragraph after point 2, current.
Yeah, current is misspelled.
Oh, man.
We're baking.
Yep.
Yeah, unless we're baked.
Unless we're baking.
You can tell where my brain was at, right?
Yeah, it's Christmas. Amanda's baking. I know she is.
Yeah, multiple cakes.
All right, because October 30th, this is the negative advisory that we made. Okay, all right, are we ready to make a motion to accept October 30th minutes?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that is 3 separate minutes.
Thank you.
for
That-
Thank you.
And in
And
this
it's done.
process, I have buried my agenda.
Then,
Great.
oh, I got this. The next one is the approval of the annual calendar for 2026, which Katie has to pass out to everybody. Take one and pass it down.
Yeah. Pick one, pass it back.
am going to point out
Yeah, commit us to memory.
one thing. I added meetings to July and August
Oh,
instead of leaving you off. Here's the thing. They're there in case we need them. We don't have to have them.
That's a great idea.
okay, yeah.
I wanted to put something in place because we had some stuff come up this summer. We don't necessarily need to have the meetings, but I want them on the calendar so I can reserve the space.
Okay,
So if we need to meet on something, we
we
can.
can.
If it's a truly obnoxious proposal on July 14th, we can just say off with their heads.
Okay. All right, I don't have any problem with the calendar. Do we need to accept it?
Yes, you have to make a motion to accept it, but just make sure that,
A motion to accept the 2026 Conservation Commission calendar as it currently stands.
That's it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Back to that agenda.
Future agenda items.
There we go. Future agenda items. Does anybody have future agenda items to discuss?
Yes,
Yes.
I was gonna say Nora's on there.
right.
You can.
I didn't forget about you.
Know where it is? Okay.
I think we should have a standing point on the agenda for correspondence received that we would like to comment on. Example. The town of New Shoreham's advisory on the Blanchfield property.
Okay,
I would love to rip it a new one, but it's not on the agenda and I can't.
okay,
Dated no.
but it's also not to us,
It's not to us. but
right?
It is pertaining to a matter that we have discussed.
All right. I'm all for putting a public comment on, but I mean, if it's not addressed, I don't know how that would work. Like, there's a difference if someone sends you, like with the council, right? Someone sends in public comment and you can, it's on there to talk about it. If they're, I mean,
Let's say, for instance, hypothetically, the Costello.
yeah,
It gets approved. Everybody signs off on it. A month later, they're getting fined for putting lye on their lawn, or
Mhm.
something like ridiculous. Now, it's no longer in our hands, but I think we should comment and say, hey, we said the following points about it, and
right.
this is what's going on. Just kind of to signal to other
Yeah.
people that, maybe we're getting a little pissy now.
Okay.
So kind of like, sorry, this is a question too, Carlos. So kind of like our own discussion of past events, if we see fit.
That's correct.
Okay.
And it would be events that have either been before us or we can anticipate coming before us, because we're not allowed, obviously, amongst ourselves to talk outside of these august halls.
The only
Since
way.
we are in these halls, then let's talk a little bit.
The only problem is we cannot talk about a property without it being on the agenda and them being notified. So if it's say it's Costello,
Mhm.
we would have to notify them. They'd have to be given notice that we're discussing their property in the meeting.
Mm.
Because they have every right to be able to be here to be a part of the conversation.
Discussing nothing new, but things that have happened.
Yes.
In the past.
If you want to discuss a specific property, we have to give them notice.
Okay.
So I can put public comment on there. If someone were to send you a letter saying that they didn't like your decision about Costello or something,
Mhm.
we could talk about the letter. You can't talk about the property without us notifying Costello.
And how long of a notice do we have to give the property owner?
The same when I make the agenda. So like,
Okay.
I mean, if it's something that's come up and you know it's come up and you want, we set the agenda on the same day. I try to set it on the same day every month. So as soon as I post the agenda, I will email it out to any parties that need it. So,
So
So-
if we track them, Carlos, then we could, if there is correspondence that we are wishing to discuss further as a commission, then we can reach out
Right.
to Amanda.
like if they
the
say,
right Timeframe to get it put on the agenda.
if he
and
say
then
he
we
gets
can
fined
discuss
and
it.
someone notices it, we can put that on there and I can notify them
Mhm.
100%.
Yeah.
But if
How-
it's
in this particular case, it's not addressed to us, but we are CC'd on it.
right,
I don't know.
I can ask, that one's touchy.
Because it's from,
I know it's,
to DEM.
right,
Could it be discussed if one of us were to bring it up, leave the desk and go around and speak at?
no, it's not, that's not even why I'm questioning
Okay.
it. They CC'd it to you, so it counts as
Okay.
correspondence to
Okay.
you.
Okay.
You can't talk about the property without us notifying.
But we could talk about the process.
Yeah, I think so.
Well-
My understanding is you cannot talk about a specific property
Mm-hmm.
without giving them notice.
Right.
So if you want to talk about how badly they did or didn't write the letter,
Mm-hmm.
you could do that, but you can't talk about the property they're referring to. Does that make sense?
Mm,
Oh, you just can't talk about a specific plat and lot
right,
without giving them notice to have someone be able to be present.
right, right, right. No, I understand the
So
fairness
that's
of that.
that. So if you want to talk about, I can put it on there if you want to talk about how their letter was written, but you can't talk about
The town's
property.
letter was written.
Yeah, you just can't talk about the property it was written about without me notifying somebody.
Right.
But we can visit the property.
No. That property's done and over with. You
We're
can't
done
go
with
back
that.
to that
Yeah, we're
property.
done there.
But
Yeah.
I'm just left smarting with this letter from the town to DEM.
I can put it on the agenda. I'm more than happy to, but if you want to talk about that property specifically, you can't without me notifying somebody. Because there's so many lawyers involved
Oh, yeah.
with that case.
No, it's a good one.
It's, I'd rather be on the safe side and have someone here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if that's something you want, I can more than happy to try to figure that out. It would probably be January. Well, it will be January because we're not meeting again this month, but I can figure that out if that's something you would like.
I'll think about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I will put public comment on the agenda for future if you want me to. Do you want me to put that, in case people have something or something comes in?
I think public comment's never a bad thing.
But
Yeah,
no,
I
agree.
think
Great.
it's
Yeah.
helpful.
You want me to, do
Yeah.
you want me to
Right
put it?
after maybe call to order, public comment,
Yeah.
that way people can flag
Right,
things.
yeah, because public comment gives us an ability to discuss things.
Can I make a suggestion? If you have applications like we did today where they have to get going,
Yeah,
I'll put it at the end. I'll put it right before we do minutes.
that's fine.
Is that okay? But then if it's a regular, just run of the mill without applications, we'll put it at the top.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, timing
Okay.
doesn't matter. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good idea, I think, because it gives us a legal way to have some discussion that is sitting
Yeah.
there on the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, and that also means if people come to talk about certain properties, they can tell you their complaints, but you can't talk about the properties.
Right.
Is it just a run of the?
Yank us if and.
I will, but like, I don't like being mean to you
Right.
guys. I don't need to be a mom. You guys are plenty good at being responsible adults.
Yeah. All right, do we have any other future agenda items? All right, well then I would make a motion to,
Wait.
oh, there is.
Nora's a future agenda.
Yes, she is.
Yes.
Nora does. Nora, you're up.
She knows. Not now, but she knows. We're on it.
And Nora, can you get us stuff to think about ahead of time? Like sooner rather than later, so we can
Yeah, because that way they can end up on our agenda and we can actually deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Okay, well, then I would make a motion to adjourn.
And I would second it.
All in favor?
I
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.